You can step over.
When you get old, it takes like a half an hour to cross the room. It's like really difficult. Somebody help. Just leave the door open. Hold the door open to him so he's... Hare Krishna. I see trouble coming in the door. Small baby sitting in the class and they're nice for a little while and then something happens. Okay, so this is the moment of decision. What direction do we go this evening? So I've been told that there are a number of newer devotees, and of course we have a number of very experienced devotees, and then we have some young devotees. So the challenge with that situation is how to involve and bring everybody into the subject matter and the discussion. So here's two options, and don't say that the third option is both. One option is discuss a message from Bhagavad Gita. I have a specific Bhagavad Gita message in mind. Or discuss something that involves the youth. That would mean bringing everybody up here, and the youth up front, everybody else gets the back seat. And then I'll interact with them and ask questions about Mahabharata personalities and so forth, and then we'll end up in a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. A or B?
B, option one.
Huh?
A.
A, B.
Option one.
Let's see, show of hands. A is Bhagavad Gita verse, and B is you're on the back seat, and it's youth in the front. And okay. I'll try to keep the youth involved. It's sometimes a little boring to discuss Bhagavad Gita for young people. Those that are anywhere from 18 down to 5 years of age, 18 down to 5 years of age. Raise your hand. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll start with these 5 boys, and then we'll go to the back. And I'm going to ask. We'll start with you. Yes, you. You're number 1. And then in front of you, and then we'll go like this. So, what's the essence of the message of Bhagavad Gita? One sentence. The essence of the message of Bhagavad Gita is
to tell people about Arjuna fought the war on Kurukshetra.
That's what he was supposed to do. What's the essence of the message of Bhagavad Gita? Well, I'll ask a different question. What's the final instruction of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita? Final instruction of Bhagavad Gita.
To not be scared and to do your duty.
Yeah. You know the verse, Sarva-dharmam parityaja. What's the rest?
Well, I forgot.
Manikam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva-papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Which means, paraphrased, more or less, Sarva-dharma, what does dharma mean? Religious duty. Religious duty. Sarva-dharmam parityaja means relinquish or set aside or abandon. Prabhupada translates. Abandon all varieties of dharma and do one thing. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Sharanam means surrender. So surrender unto Krishna engage in Krishna's devotional service. And all other dharmas or duties or principles that you should live by are subordinate to that one. That's Bhagavad Gita's message. Surrender to Krishna, become his devotee. Here's another question. There's one verse in Bhagavad Gita, and this is your question. There's one verse in Bhagavad Gita that Krishna speaks twice, and there's only one. What's that one verse? Manmana. You know that one? Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So, manmana, always think of me. Mana means mind. Manmana, think of me. Bhava madbhakta. Bhakta means devotee. Right? Become my devotee. Bhava madbhakta. Madhyaji. Yaja means worship. Worship me. Mam namaskuru. Offer your obeisances unto me. So this is the last verse in chapter 9, and that's like the middle verse of, because there's 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. In the very middle, if you were like to put your finger in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, it's the beginning verse of chapter 10, the last verse of chapter 9. That's the conclusion of the middle section, and Krishna repeats it again in the 18th chapter. So one can say that's the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Always think of Krishna, become Krishna's devotee, worship Krishna, and offer obeisances to Krishna. Very similar to the other question. You ready? Any more question? Name one obstacle. A very prominent obstacle in Bhagavad Gita's message. What's a very prominent obstacle in going forward with the process of surrender to Krishna? What's an obstacle? You decide, yes, I want to surrender to Krishna. What's an obstacle?
3 modes.
3 modes. That's a big obstacle. Okay. And those 3 modes of nature act upon who? They don't act upon some people, but they do act upon most people. And who are those people that they act upon? Hint. If you don't surrender to Krishna, they act upon you, right? So there's a verse, Daivihi yesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mami vaye prapadyante. What's the last line? Maya me tam taranti te. So that verse says the 3 modes of material nature, very difficult to overcome. Duratyaya, very difficult. And the other half says, but it's very easy to overcome them if you prapadyante, you surrender to Krishna. So there's another 1, 2, 3. Surrender to Krishna, and that big obstacle, the modes of nature, you can pass over it. What's another big obstacle in the path of devotion? Surrendering to Krishna. Big obstacle. Different one. Well, how does Maya come in the form of? What does Maya look like? Don't think too much about what Maya looks like. That is the wrong question. What is, if one becomes attracted to Maya instead of to Krishna, what is a symptom? I have, on the one hand, I know the message, I should surrender to Krishna. But it's a little difficult surrendering to Krishna. You're attached to something else. attachment. Attachment, the general category that attachment commonly is described of in Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita is attachment to fruitive activities. You've learned Bhagavad Gita verses, right? So, can you think of a verse where Krishna teaches either the negative or the positive, either the fruit of what is attachment to fruitive activities look like, or what does detachment from fruitive activities look like? Kartaham iti manyate, you know that verse? Don't know the verse. Mam evadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana, you know that verse? Karmani evadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. In that verse, Krishna is speaking of detachment as detachment from the fruits of your work, but attachment to perform your duty, even without attachment to the fruits of your work. Karma yoga, not bhakti, but detachment from the fruits of your work. Because an obstacle to act with devotion for any of us is we're attached. Attached to what? Well, there's objects, but the objects represent the fruits of your work. So we don't want to let go of those. We want to be the enjoyer of those. We're attached. That inhibits. It's a bhakti inhibitor. It's kryptonite for Superman. It weakens devotion, attachment. So, what's one of the remedies in Bhagavad Gita for detaching oneself from that attachment to the fruits of work?
Just keep Krishna in the center and
Yeah.
serve your time.
And what's a manifestation of keeping Krishna in the center, specific to the fruits of your work? It's simple. It's not a trick question. Real simple one. What do you do with the fruits of your work if there's a tendency to be attached to the fruits of your work, and you want to get free from the attachment to the fruits of your work? What do? Offer to the Supreme. You make a sacrifice. Yajna, Vaibhishya, Chapter 3, Bhagavad Gita. Make sacrifice. So there's, according to Bhagavad Gita, there are different types of people who have the disposition for sacrifice in different types of ways. It can be this way, that way, the other way, but the principle is sacrifice. So we're all making some sacrifice. Generally, our sacrifices are to do something so we get something. And that something is the fruit of our work. So it's deferred enjoyment. We do something to get something. But it's driven by fruit of work. So to diminish that tendency, do something to get something, that something you offer to the Supreme through the process of sacrifice to the Supreme. That's connected to the same karmani vadikaraste ma pala. Pala means fruit. The fruits of your work offer to the Supreme. Suppose you want to, get good grades in school. Mom and Dad hope you want to get good grades in school. So you get good grades in school. Now what do? I met someone, young devotee, recently. He's in 11th grade, he's president of his class, and he's already elected to become president of the student organization next year. He's a leader, very qualified devotee. And his parents are really nice and he's really nice. And so one way to be not detached, but attached, I'm the president of my school. And then another is, Krishna is very kind. I'm being given an opportunity to render service. It's only Krishna's mercy and mercy of the Vaishnavas, because I learned to perform sadhana when I was a young devotee. Krishna's given me this ability to serve so many people, and by serving Krishna, they know that I'm a devotee and they'll think of Krishna. Krishna's giving me an opportunity to serve him. Offer the fruits to Krishna, offer the success, the fruit of your work is because of the kindness of Krishna, and you let it be used in service to Krishna, like that. Okay. Now there's a set of girls. Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We'll start with you. What's the first subject matter that Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita?
You're not the body, you're the soul.
Yeah, so what's that called? What system of yoga is that called? Starts with an S. But system...
Sankhya.
Sankhya! Can you give a little definition of Sankhya? Sankhya means?
Sankhya means like trying to understand the Supreme by connecting your desires.
Understanding. Sankhya literally means to count. To make the distinctions between the categories of matter and the categories of spirit, and we belong over here. Category of spirit. You're not the body.
You're the soul.
Spirit, soul. Category of spirit, that's who we are. Okay, next question. After chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita, after Krishna teaches Sankhya, what's the next subject matter that he teaches? Don't ask her. I'm asking you. What is the next subject? After Krishna teaches Sankhya, that's the first section of Krishna. Almost. That comes later. That's chapter 3. The second part of chapter 2 starts with a B. We'll come back to you. Bhuti Yoga, right. I know she said bhakti. So let me ask you, what is the difference between Bhakti Yoga and Bhuti Yoga? Or are they the same?
They're different because...
How are they different? How are they different? You're not sure? Not sure. Is your friend next to you? Do you know the difference between? Or the similarities between? Would you like to know? Both of you. All three of you in the middle there. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, so we're just all three of you in the middle. Bodhi means intelligence. But it's a different kind of intelligence than, the university kind of intelligence. It is the kind of intelligence, chapter 10, Bhagavad Gita, that's the verse that we're going to be discussing by. All this is to get us into chapter 10, Bhagavad Gita, and that you're all on board with the subject matter. It was a trick. No, it wasn't a trick. It was a means of involving you. So, Buddhi is spiritual intelligence. How do you could you move so she can get in?
Yeah.
Thank you. And please come in quickly so we can resume. You need a seat? There's a chair over there. You okay without a chair? Okay, no need. Okay, fine. Don't sit right by the door though, because no one will be able to get in after you. Come on in. Come on in. I have a suggestion. Dear brother, where are you?
He's outside.
Remind him later. Have him oil the hinge of the door. The squeaky sound will go away.
Keep it open.
I don't mind, whatever you like to do. There's a backpack. Push the backpack in front of the door. If the door stays open, you don't hear the squeaking.
Yes.
Thank you. He's an engineer, right? Are you an engineer? Huh?
Yes.
What kind?
I studied electrical engineering.
Electrical. You do something else. Okay. We're getting there. Okay. You remember where we were? The difference between Bodhi and Bhakti? So, one point. Prabhupada sometimes uses them interchangeably. They actually, in one sense, mean the same thing, because they are the same thing. But there's, as you said correctly, they're different terms because there's something different about them. Exactly what we're going to find out. So, Bodhi means, there's a nice verse in chapter 2, text 41 of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna indicates one of the very important distinctions about Bodhi. It's where undivided attention goes to one thing, although you may be doing many, 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 many different things. The unity of life in devotion to Krishna is where you have one purpose. That's Bodhi. What's that one purpose? Connect with Krishna. Be engaged, connected with Krishna in devotion to Krishna. It's the propellant, you can say in one sense, behind devotion. It's not going to work. I knew it. I knew it when she walked in the door. Quiet for a while and then something happens. Thank you very much. Children make noise. So, Bodhi. Single focus, Ekeha Kurunandana. Very, very focused. Although diversity of activity, all variety of activity, one purpose in every activity. That's Bodhi. And then there's Buddhayo Avyasayinam. That with persons that are not of this Bodhi Yoga, their intelligence is many branched. So very singular focus on all activities of life. Attaining shelter of Krishna. Remaining connected with Krishna. Now remaining connected with Krishna means devotion. So you can say Bodhi is a subset of Bhakti. Anyone who has Bhakti, they have Bodhi. And anyone who is driven by Bodhi, they're going to become Krishna's Bhakti. Manmana bhava mad bhakto, right? There's a connection between these verses in Bhagavad Gita. So what's Bhakti? Bhakti is where we know that Krishna, Vasudeva, Krishna, he's everything. He's the source of everything. We're part of everything. And everything is part of everything, and we're part of that, and Krishna is the source. He's everything for me. I am his. I am his devotee. So the things that we do are done with the spirit of love and making offerings unto Krishna with love. So, one of you three, any one of you three, can you think of a verse where Krishna speaks of making offerings to him with love and devotion?
Yes.
No, those three. Those three. Whoa! Let's go in the front. Then comes, what's the translation? And then comes, can you explain it? Translation, more or less, not necessarily recitation.
Whoever offers me
These four things, what are they?
flour, water, leaf, and
Fruit. Phala.
fruit.
Yeah. Offer those
Whoever offers these to me
with love and devotion.
I will accept it.
Okay. So now explain. One sentence. Just connected to what we were just speaking about. You'll get your chance. Let the girls go. Then he's like fired up. One sentence from connecting because what's bhakti? What's bhakti? Bhakti is you do what you do with devotion for Krishna. So this was an example. So just say it. Just don't be panic-stricken. Just say it simply. If you had to explain that to one of your class friends, what would you say?
If you're poor and you have like something like a small fruit or nut, like if you offer with love or devotion, Krishna will accept it because you're offering it with love and devotion.
Fantastic. And how does that connect? I'll put it as a statement. That connects with our earlier discussion of detachment from the way of material life, which is attachment. We do the same things. We drink some water, eat some fruit. But before we drink the water, eat the fruit, we make an offering to Krishna with love and devotion, not mechanical, so it's prasadam instead of something else, not mechanical, with love and devotion. And similarly, all the other things that we do in our life, by the same principle. We do that activity with love and devotion for Krishna. Because the activity isn't something that Krishna needs any more than the fruit of the leaf or, so many leaves all over the place. Abundant. So it's the love and devotion. Are you ready for your question? She's a little nervous. Not so sure. You want me to pass you off and go to the next person? Yeah. You heard of karma yoga, right? So, what's karma yoga? You. Yes, karma yoga. Meaning, karma yoga? Karma means word. Karma yoga means? Karma yoga means? You're not sure. Offering the fruits of your karma or your work to the Supreme. Offering the fruits of your work or your duty to the Supreme. Karma yoga. Bhakti yoga includes karma yoga, or karma yoga is a subset of bhakti yoga. You know the meaning subset, right? From math? Okay. If I have $100, I have $10. $10 is a subset of the $100. That everyone can understand that one. Subset. Within bhakti, there's already karma yoga. We're already offering our fruits to Krishna because of the principle of bhakti. The principle of bhakti is understanding. I've understood chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. So anything that is done by my body which is an energy of Krishna, it's Krishna's already. So because I'm doing this activity for Krishna, the fruit is already Krishna's. So the double or the additional element is the love and devotion. Not just detachment, and I want liberation. Often, at least in the preliminary stages, can you lean that one? In the preliminary stages of our life and devotion, I don't want I don't want the unpleasant experiences of material life. In material life, the people they don't treat each other very nicely, and they suffer a lot because of their attachment. I don't like that suffering, so I want to get released from that suffering, so I'll offer the fruits to Krishna. I'm a liberationist. You with me? The motivation of wanting liberation. The devotee wants the happiness of Krishna. And so liberation is a subset of that. Being released from attachment and being released from the bondage of all that goes with attachment it's a subset of bhakti. Because I want to please Krishna. Love is the highest principle, and subset of that is detachment from the fruits, of trying to be the enjoyer of stuff. It's a real platform of selfless work. You've heard the term selfless service. The real standard of selfless service is please Krishna. And automatically, your life is service to all living beings because they're part and parcel of Krishna. You have a question?
Yeah. So isn't the love in this world lust? Because once it
Yes.
becomes
You got it. Sounds like Bhakti Siddhanta. You know who was Bhakti Siddhanta, right?
Yeah.
Prabhupada's spiritual master. So he was like, he was uncompromising, very straight, heavy sometimes. So he declared, there's no love in this world. Meaning, real love is otherworldly. Cool, huh? Real love is not of this world. Real love is transcendental. So one can be situated in transcendental love and be in this world and be genuinely loving to all living beings. But that's very rare. And alternatively, he loves her or she loves him, or there's a friend and a friend because you scratch my back and I scratch your back and we're friends. You stop satisfying the things that I like. I don't know if our friendship is going to last for very long. It's different. And love is a higher principle. And then transcendental love is fully unconditional. That's like a big word, unconditional. Unconditional. Because it's connected to Krishna. That's unconditional. And go back to that patram pushpam palam toyam. Because we offer ourselves to Krishna with love and devotion, Krishna gives himself to us similarly. That's a deep mystery. And that's the verse that we're going to be discussing just now. All this was to get you ready for tonight's verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I'm going to recite Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 11. If you know the verse, you can say it with me. We'll say it 3 times together, not responsively, and then I'll read the verse in purport and we'll discuss. Tesham evanukam partam.
Tesham evanukam partam.
Okay, we can do it responsibly. Well, I should go back one verse. We'll go back to 10:10. Tesham satata yuktanam
Tesham satata yuktanam
Bhajatam priti purvakam
Bhajatam priti purvakam
Dadami bodhi yogam tham
Dadami bodhi yogam
Yena mam upayanti te.
Yena mam upayanti te.
We'll say it again, but notice this Buddhi Yoga term is right in the verse, and also notice that the word priti, as with the patram pushpam palam toyam yobi bhaktya prayachati, to offer with love and devotion, priti, purvakam, is here. Tesham satata yuktanam
Tesham satata yuktanam
Bhajatam priti purvakam
Bhajatam priti purvakam
Dadami bodhi yogam tam
Dadami bodhi yogam
Yena mam upayanti te.
Yena mam upayanti te.
Translation: to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, not just once upon a time, here's a fruit, here's a flower, here's a leaf, but constantly devoted. Satata yuktanam, satata yuktanam, constantly devoted. They live their life that way, in devotion to Krishna. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And here's 3-paragraph purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the word Buddhi Yogam is very significant. You may remember that in the 2nd chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things, and that he would instruct him in the way of Buddhi Yoga. Sankhya was the first topic, Sankhya Yoga, then Buddhi Yoga. Now, Buddhi Yoga is explained. Buddhi Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. Semicolon. That is the highest intelligence, because Buddhi means intelligence. Material intelligence has its place. Material intelligence is, there's something out there, and I want to get one of those. So to get one of those, I need some material intelligence to get one of those. Or if I want one a little different than one of those, then I need to go to school and learn how to get material intelligence so I can make it not just one of those, but one of these. I go to a school of engineering and learn how to, take this and make one of those. You need material intelligence for that. Now to get to Krishna, you need spiritual intelligence. And Krishna is the source of of Buddhi Yoga, because he's situated within the heart. And when he sees from within the heart that someone really wants to come to me, what's the standard by which he knows or he evaluates? Does someone really want to come to me? They're constantly engaged in this offering of things. They do their karma yoga activity of detachment from the fruits, but they want to go beyond just detachment from the fruits. They want to be in their relationship with Krishna, with love and devotion. Then Krishna gets Buddhi Yoga. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. What's that mystic part? It's like you can't really see it. You can't get a material yardstick and see the cause and effect of it. Why? Because it's directly coming from Krishna. Directly. Not like this pushes that, and the cause and effect, like within the process of creation. This is directly coming from the spiritual platform, from Krishna to you. From Krishna within your heart to the soul that's also within the heart, and Krishna is giving guidance how to go to him. Spiritual intelligence. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness in devotional service, his action is called Buddhi Yoga. So Buddhi Yoga is the intelligence that's driving, but Buddhi Yoga is also the activity, the action in Krishna consciousness, with the presumption or the understanding, the prior understanding, that there's spiritual intelligence operating in this person that came from Krishna, and the purpose of that is to get to Krishna. How to navigate your way through this world to get to Krishna. In other words, Buddhi Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this, therefore the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know, he says it again, that the goal is, he just said it in the previous sentence, Krishna. And when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. End of paragraph. Something very practical wisdom that I recall hearing from Srila Prabhupada as a new devotee, just like this, sitting in an assembly in a class that he was giving, and then he from time to time would make the same point, and then again later make the same point. I'm just repeating what I had heard from Prabhupada. Really simple wisdom. When the goal is well defined, it's very easy to make steps towards the goal. Conversely, if the goal is not well defined, it's very difficult to get there. Right? Now, that was just the end of the first of 3 paragraphs. Just 2 anecdotal things. When I was in undergraduate school, I had a friend who was a graduate student, and he had a little sports car. And he used to go for rides in his little sports car. And I asked him, when you go for rides in your little sports car, where are you going? He said, just going for a ride. And I said, I hope you get there. You know, there's this little, I don't know if, other than Americans, you know this little nursery rhyme, row, row, row your boat. You heard that one before? You heard that one before? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So what's life? It's just row your boat. Where are you going? Nowhere, just row your boat. Just get in your car and go somewhere. You know, live your life, and where you're going, doesn't matter where you're going. Just go. Experience. What's the goal of that experience? No goal. Just like maybe some of you have studied or read and studied Science of Self-Realization. There's a discussion, an interview, like a dialogue between Prabhupada and a German professor named Durkheim. Familiar with that dialogue? Prabhupada and Professor Durkheim. And Professor Durkheim was putting forward the argument, knowledge for knowledge's sake. Same point. Prabhupada was saying, no, there must be a purpose. And Professor Durkheim was saying, knowledge for knowledge's sake. And Prabhupada was saying the knowledge must be applied towards a purpose. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So a purposeless, exactly what Prabhupada is saying here. This is an esteemed professor in a very highly recognized educational institution, university in Germany, and knowledge for knowledge's sake, no purpose. What's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of knowledge? What's the purpose of rowing your boat? What's the purpose of getting in your car? What's the purpose of life? No purpose. No purpose. So, buddhi is when you know what the purpose is. And then you can make steps to get to the goal. Another example. I mean, I could go more detail, but I won't because of the time. A lighthouse. What's the purpose of a lighthouse? What's the purpose of a lighthouse? You're very enthusiastic. What's the purpose of a lighthouse?
Lighthouse is to know ships that far away that land is there.
Very good. So I'm a captain of a boat at sea, and it's night. So that means even the stars in the sky and the moon, there's no light because I'm out at the sea. And it's a storm. And there's waves. And I know somewhere over there's land, but I don't know exactly where it is. Then I see in the distance there's a lighthouse. So I just head for the lighthouse. And the storm may blow the ship this way, and it may blow the ship that way, and that's okay. I just keep heading for the light. That's at the top of the lighthouse, because I know there's land. Similarly, the Buddha Yoga comparison. Here we are in, the darkness of ignorance. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya. Darkness of ignorance. But then there's some light. There's this lighthouse that says there's land. There's a place where you're not in danger in the sea. There's safety in the land. So you head for the light. There's a goal. Buddha Yoga is you identify the goal and then you make steps to get to the goal. And you're committed to get to the goal, and Krishna will give you the intelligence how to get there. A little presentation that I have made a couple times now recently at universities is practical spirituality. The first part is, man, is it complex. Life is complex. I'll just even say this. I spent 1 week in Boston, because there's many universities in Boston, and this, out of the choice of topics to speak about, 4 places, they all chose the same subject, stress management. And that told me something about what it's like to be a college student today. They're very clear. They want to know how to handle the stress that they're under. And the message is, it doesn't get less complex. It gets more complex. Count your blessings when you're young, because it's going to get more complex. And how do you navigate your way through that complexity? Well, if you don't know what the goal is, it's scary. You're in the middle of the sea, in a storm, and you don't know where the land is, and the waves are pushing you this way and pushing you that way, and the wind is blowing this way and that way. It's very complex. So is it practical? So how do you do the practical? And there's a picture of a guy sitting at a desk in a yoga position in the middle of a board meeting. That's not practical. How do you keep your consciousness fixed in a complex world? We all could laugh a whole bunch and describe the different complex things that we just encountered this past week. If I told you what I just went through, you'd probably cry. It was it was difficult. Honestly, very, very difficult. So, how to keep fixed? Well, if you know what the goal is, that lighthouse that's off in the distance, then you just keep going, what's that, what's that? It's connecting with Krishna and with love and devotion. Continue, despite this or that. Krishna. Just like in Vrindavan. Here comes Aristasura. You two girls in the back. Just behind you. Well, what? Do you know who is Aristasura? In Krishna book. How about you? Do you know who is Aristasura? In the red t-shirt. Aristasura. You know who is Aristasura. He's enthusiastic. Who is Aristasura?
The bull demon.
Bull demon. Aristasura was so big. He had a big hump on his back, and the big hump on his back was as tall as the trees. This guy was huge. And when he was walking, the whole earth would shake, and when he was running, the leaves would fall off the trees. Everything was moving like this. He was massive, huge demon. It's described in the Krishna book that when he first entered Vrindavan, he was looking for Krishna, and he thought, Krishna's going to be with the cows, so he went to where the cows were. And he was tormenting the cows, thinking Krishna would come to protect the cows. So the cowherds who protect cows, when they saw this terrible bull demon tormenting the cows, they went to Krishna. And it was, Krishna, Krishna! Right? Because that's what you do when there's some difficulty. So what do we do when we encounter difficulty? Well, it depends if you're Krishna conscious or not. Whether you see the light or only the darkness, not the light. It's easy to see the darkness. What about the light? And if you see the light and your practice, your habit, your nature is to just make offerings unto Krishna, you offer yourself to Krishna. Krishna! Then Krishna gives the intelligence. How to conduct yourself in that difficult, complex, challenging situation. Life has lots of it. Yeah.
Doesn't Krishna give you those problems to test you?
Well, it depends if you're a devotee or not a devotee. Are you a devotee? Trying to be, right? Okay. So then, Krishna is giving you an opportunity to take further shelter of him. But supposing somebody else is not a devotee, and then it's different because they're not thinking this is an opportunity to take deeper shelter of Krishna. They're thinking my sense gratification is being interfered with, and they just get distressed. But they're reaping the fruit of their past karma. So it's different. Depends on the regard that you have for Krishna. Correct? Second paragraph. When a person knows the goal of life, but is addicted to fruitive activities. What's an obstacle? One of the obstacles for bhakti is being attached to fruitive activities. Supposing somebody knows, but they're addicted. I mean, not just like attached, but addicted. He is acting in karma yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna, but he takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, he is acting in jnana yoga. And when he knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in bhakti yoga or buddhi yoga. See, he's using them interchangeably, which is the complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life, which Krishna said at the end of chapter 6, Bhagavad Gita. So now this is an adult question. Or anyone question. Except for this one boy here in the front. What is the verse in which Krishna says that Devotional service is the topmost form of yoga.
Yogi Nama.
Oh, she wants to answer. You know the verse?
No.
Not sure.
Wait.
You you have an idea? You're not sure. You almost had it. You're his coach, huh? Anyone know the verse? Know the verse?
Yoginamapi sarvesam matkata.
Say it slow.
Yoginamapi sarvesam matkata antaratama sraddhavan vajre yomam yukta tamomata.
You knew it, right?
Yeah, but I didn't know the whole verse.
Okay. What part? What's the part that you know?
The first.
Say it. Go ahead. Say it.
Yoginamapi sarvesham
Madkatain antaratmana. Right? Say it again now. Yogi namapi sarvesham antaratmana. What's the next part? Shradhavan.
I don't know that.
Okay. Anyone else know the verse? You know the verse. Who knows the verse? In the back. Do you know the meaning? Yoginam api sarvesham, amongst all forms of yoga. Madgatain antaratmana. Antar, atma. Antar means within. Atma means self. Right? Antaratmana. Shradhavan. Shraddha means faith. Van, one who possesses faith. Shradhavan. Bhajate. Bhaj. In the purport, Prabhupada explains that it's in this verse too, by the way. Bhaj is the root word of bhakti. And bhakti means, bhaj means practical activity. Prabhupada explains this. It's not just a feeling. I'm feeling devotion. Don't disturb me. I know it's time for arti, but I'm feeling devotion for Krishna. Bhaj means practical activity. Prabhupada is very explicit. Bringing the senses to sense objects and interacting with those sense objects with devotion for Krishna is practical activity. He specifically describes in the second canto of Bhagavatam that deity worship is practical activity. There's theory. We know we should be devoted to Krishna, and then you go to perform the arti. You make an offering. You go to the kitchen and cook something, and you offer to Krishna, and then you have the arti, and you sing song for Krishna, and then you take the remnants of prasadam. We're going to do that pretty soon. So I'm going to stop talking. That's practical activity. Bhajate yomam sa me yukta uttama. Uttama means topmost. It's the topmost form of yoga. That person who sa me yukta uttama mataha. Mataha means it's my opinion. Krishna is very humble, saying, in my opinion. And when Krishna says my opinion, it means it's fact. When we say it's my opinion, take it or leave it. But when Krishna says it's his opinion, it's fact. What's the fact? The topmost system of yoga is Shraddhavan Bhajate Yomam. When you, with faith, Shraddhavan, Bhajate, engage in devotional service, Yomam, unto him, and Antaratmana, one thinks of Krishna within, while you do your activity for Krishna. Topmost. Last paragraph. We're almost done. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization But if he is not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may, of course he may not also, ultimately come to him without difficulty, because we can still say no to Krishna.
You can?
So we should know. You know anybody that says no to Krishna? I know a lot of people that say no to Krishna. Some people say yes to Krishna. Some people say, well, I like that one, I don't like that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Of course, you always say yes to Krishna, right? Yes. The qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness with love and devotion and render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna. And that work, just like going to school and doing well in school, that's work. Do it for Krishna, with love, for Krishna. Because the ability comes from Krishna. So if the ability comes from Krishna, then it should be done for Krishna, right? Mm-hmm. Last sentence. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him. So that's Krishna's, one of the forms or expressions of Krishna's kindness is he gives us the chance by which we can come to him, because he sees, well, he wants to come to me. And I've examined, just like your question here about, difficulties, and Krishna's giving us the opportunity through those difficulties to take shelter of him. I remember, I'll end just this little Prabhupada story. I remember hearing a class where Prabhupada was saying, Krishna will sometimes test his devotee. We all know. But that's all. The devotee prays to Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, please engage me eternally in your devotional service. So, Prabhupada said, Krishna hears the prayer, because he's a person, and Krishna will ask, are you sure you want me? How about a little sense gratification? And then Prabhupada said, and the devotee says, no, I only want you. I'm very sincere. What about that kind of sense gratification? What about another kind? No, I just want you. Oh, you're very sincere. What about a little difficulty? Are you sure you want me? And the devotee says, I don't mind the difficulty. I just want you. I want to be engaged in your loving service. Whatever circumstance you wish, I just want to be engaged in your loving service. And then, this is Prabhupada. Then paraphrasing, of course I'm a little more dramatically expressing, but Prabhupada then said, oh, Krishna says, they really do want me. Then I will give myself to them. So there's some examination. And it's a practical exam too. It's not like, check the box on a piece of paper and then you get an A and you go back to Godhead. Krishna wants to see, do you really want him? Do you really want him? So sometimes in the life of a devotee, there's some difficulty. Sometimes there's too much. Sometimes when we forget to call out Krishna's name, we start, faulting Krishna. Why are you putting me through so much difficulty? This isn't nice. I'm nice. I'm trying to serve you. Why so much difficulty? That one. it's an opportunity for purification. An opportunity for purification, which, like Queen Kunti says, the adversity is an impetus to take deeper shelter of Krishna. And when Krishna sees that we take that deeper shelter of him, it's to strengthen our devotion. Then Krishna gives intelligence, not only how to deal with the difficulty, but now you're at Krishna's lotus feet with strong devotion. Krishna is very kind. So he gives the intelligence how to come to him. We stay practically engaged always in his loving service because we just want to offer things to him with love and devotion. Unconditionally. There's that word again. Unconditionally. When there's a condition, there's not as satisfying as when it's unconditional. Ahoitakiya pratyata yayatma suprasidati in the Bhagavatam's language. Ahoitaki means without hetu, without cause. Without, I want something. That's the fruitive. I want. So I do something so I get what I want. Fruitive. And then here's the obstacle. Oh, so there's nothing that can, apratiyata, nothing that can check. It's the example, one example, is the Ganges flowing downstream during rainy season. You don't have to tell the Ganges, okay, we can flow downstream now. Ganges flows downstream. It's very natural. And then you try to stop the Ganges from flowing downstream, put your arm out. The Ganges is going to flow downstream. Put a dam across the Ganges River. It's going to go over the dam and go downstream. Nothing can stop. So devotional service, bhakti and bodhi, there isn't something starting on this end. There isn't something starting it, and this end, there's nothing stopping it. That's causeless and uninterrupted devotional service. And yenatma suprasidati, the prasana, the satisfaction of the self is that being in that relationship with Krishna. And suprasana, very satisfying. When you're satisfied, the message to these students, I mean, I had to kind of work my way to get there, but the message is, or was, this group of students in Boston, the real position of stress management is not to have any. And not to have any is Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means no anxiety. When there's no anxiety, you're not stressed. But when you're in a stressful atmosphere, how do you stay in Vaikuntha consciousness? By being satisfied within, which is our Bhagavatam teaching. So you can be in a turbulent situation, a ship at sea, in the middle of a storm at night, and you just follow the light to the lighthouse. It's difficulty to get there, but you can be confident with a good captain and a sound boat, you'll get there. That's exactly this good captain example is what Prabhupada says is a qualified spiritual master. And the favorable breezes, that's the instructions of the scripture. You'll get there. And the light, you know what the goal is, buddhi. So we all have, this is an equal opportunity organization. The Hare Krishna movement. We're all eligible to go to Krishna. Striya Vaishyasata Shudras Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. The supreme destination is accessible for all of us. It's the same lighthouse. It's the same Bhagavad Gita. It's the same goal. Get on board, go to the goal, and find happiness, suprasidati, in that way of life of devotion to Krishna. And back to the verse, Tesham satata yuktanam. Those who engage themselves in that way, Krishna gives the intelligence how you can get to him. Even the greatest of storms, Or the most pleasant of experiences, you don't forget the goal, because it's a pleasant experience. The goal is to be in loving service to Krishna. That's all. That's all. That's my shelter. That's my happiness. That's my life. And gradually we can get there, although there's some obstacles standing in the way. Generally attachments to sense gratification and mental speculation. Once a reporter, I'll just say this one story. A reporter asked to the Prabhupada, Swamiji, how long does it take to become Krishna conscious? Prabhupada, less than a moment. And in that less than a moment, two things. The tendency to try to be enjoyer of fruitive activities, you let that go. And second, the tendency to try to understand God through the power of mental speculation. Let that go. Generally, then Prabhupada paused and said, generally, people are attached to these two things, and therefore generally the process is gradual. Then back would be his answer. But actually all it takes is less than a moment. The reporter didn't know what to say. And that's our process. Through bhakti, dissolve these other things. It's so satisfying, so fulfilling. It's the goal of life. Okay, yes?
Do you help, like, devotees are kind, so they help other people, like,
Sure.
try to become devotees. But what if they don't, like, listen to you, or it's, like, difficult to explain?
You stick out your tongue at them and go like this. Well, several things. Any of the following, or a combination. Most important, number one, is be an example of a devotee. Teach by example. Achar, you know that? Principle, behavior. Sadachar is good behavior, saintly behavior. So, exhibit saintly behavior. And carry in your heart that what keeps you in saintly behavior is, in your bhakti vessel, that's your heart, you're carrying bhakti. Just by your carrying bhakti in your heart and being of the example of devotion to Krishna, you're a perambulatory Bhagavad Gita, a walking Bhagavad Gita. So you don't have to even, convince them by your words. And they say, yeah, I like your words, I'll become a devotee. Just be an example of devotion. Teach by example. And that's stronger than your words. Example is stronger than precept. You've heard that before? No, you have. Example. So supposing you say, take only Krishna Prasadam, but you don't. You're a hypocrite. But supposing you just only take Prasadam. And you don't have to say to other people, but because you're taking Prasadam and your qualities are very soft and kind and you're attractive. Somebody may ask, how did you get soft and kind and this, I like this. Like that. So that's the most important thing, is your own example that you set. Then another is prasadam. Supposing somebody doesn't want to be a devotee, well, you engage them in devotional service in that way. Here's some prasadam. Our devotees that go to work, they know that one. They make friends at work because they bring nice prasadam from home, and people at work don't know it's prasadam, but they like, oh, that's nice. But they're little by little, they're getting Krishnaized by taking prasadam. And slowly, slowly, that's a permanent asset for them anyways. And then prayer is very powerful. Not like, I'm up here, you're down there, I think I'll pray for you because you're down there. Not that kind of condescending thing. You know, Krishna's in my heart, Krishna's in their heart. Same Krishna, not two different Krishnas. But my dear Lord Krishna, this person, it would be so nice. So, like that. So when a devotee that has bhakti in their bhakti vessel wishes with compassion upon another, their compassion carries benediction to the other, not us, but you know, Krishna smiles on that other person. And somehow, something, maybe an obstacle in their life may be removed or something. So that person can turn to Krishna. They don't have to, but they're given an opportunity. You're making it easier for them to say yes instead of no through those simple methods. Most important is your example. Teach by example. And that's true for all of us. I mean, if we did a little math and say, how many people do we all interact with in the course of this past week? It'd be a lot. That's going to be a big number compared to the number of people in the room. So if we all carried bhakti in our heart and interacting with all the people, we spilled a little bhakti on them. Excuse me. You know, so we're just distributing bhakti to so many people. There's so much more. We're Krishnaizing the atmosphere in which we live of the people that surround us, and some persons are going to appreciate, and some persons are having a crisis in their life, and when they come in contact with bhakti, they want it, at least for that moment of crisis. So we can be there for them when And last is book distribution. Because when Vyasadeva asked the same question you asked in his own way, he decided people that the age of Kali is coming and it's going to be really yucky, and what to do. People will have a very difficult time. So what did he do? He was a literary person. He compiled the Vedas, and especially Srimad Bhagavatam. So if we can distribute this literature to people, slowly the acceptance of Krishna Bhakti will increase. And it's the rising tide that lifts all boats. You know that one? You heard that expression? When the tide rises, all boats come up. When the tide goes out, all boats go down. Not just that person that you're wishing they can become a devotee. But if bhakti increases, if the tide rises, all boats will lift. And just like a little promotion of the 50th anniversary of ISKCON celebration that we're doing, globally, it's a tide. The awareness of people of what is ISKCON? We've been around for 50 years, like it or not. We're going to be around longer. So, what is ISKCON? And we can make people aware of what is ISKCON and what are the contributions. Certainly, focus close to our founder Acharya, but making people more and more and more and more and more aware of what are the gifts that ISKCON has given to the world, and what are the additional gifts that we envision giving to the world. What is ISKCON? And make them aware of the principle of bhakti, make them aware of the principle of bhakti, and that way the tide rises and the boats rise. Not just that person, but yeah. I'll just For example, the first weekend of May, there's a little seminar in Chicago for devotees in North America. And it's a reaching the hearts and the minds of the Western public. So there's presenter after presenter after presenter after presenter of how to. So the people that come are not only people that want to, but they're actually going to do it. Because in order to be a registrant, you have to have some letter from your local temple that says, yeah, this is the person that's going to actually do it. Not just going to come and go, wow, that was nice. What's next on the schedule? They're actually going to do. I'll just share just one of the things that I've been having some back and forth about with one devotee. Narayan Swamy is a GBC in Southern California. So when we were together for a GBC meeting in Mayapur, there was a sannyasi who has developed a very interesting technology. It's called full dome. You can look it up on Google. Full dome, one word. And it's a geodesic dome. You know what a geodesic dome is? You know what a hexagon is? So hexagons shaped together to make like a bowl, an upside down bowl. Like an igloo that is made of hexagons. So there's portable and there's fixed ones. And you can go inside. We're planning to get a couple of them for this area. And like for Rath Yatras, I would think somebody from New Jersey, if they come, they should get at least one for your Rath Yatras. And they're portable. Some are portable, some are fixed. You go inside, there's 25 to 30 seats, and you sit down in seats, and it's an experience. You lean back, and in all directions, there's these images, because there's like 5 cameras that are especially high-tech cameras, and you experience whatever the message is. Like one of them is cosmology. Like the TOBP is going to make content for Vedic cosmology. Or, you're not the body. Or whatever. So TOBP is going to work on the content. We're encouraging our devotees to do public festivals and invite people that don't know ABC and Bhagavad Gita to experience Bhagavad Gita or experience Vedic cosmology, and not like, sit and watch something, but experience it with sound that's all around and visuals that's all around, right in the middle of the day inside this geodesic dome. Imagine that on, the Atlantic City Boardwalk or wherever you have your festivals. The people would pay a price to sit down and experience this thing. And then right outside is a Bhagavad Gita table. And prasadam. Anyway, how to help people come to the point where they can take more seriously, I'm responding to your question, take more seriously the message of devotion. This one little piece is, they're accustomed to technology, so give them the message with technology. And they'll go, yeah, that's cool. You Hare Krishna guys are cool. You know how to convey your message in a modern way, not just like this ancient, irrelevant thing. Same message. You get the idea? When the desire is there inside, Krishna will give the intelligence. That's Buddha. Anything else? Questions? Yes.
Last question.
Not last.
It's a first.
Second
Why
question.
you make it last?
Already it's 9:30. Go ahead.
No, I want to ask the question last if anybody else.
No, you ask the question.
So you mentioned we should offer the results of our activity to Krishna.
Krishna mentions that.
So I went to office today.
Oh,
So does it mean
that's good.
I keep all my money and say, Krishna, whatever I do is yours? Is that this? Can you explain that?
Well, sure. It's pretty simple. ultimately, where does everything come from? Krishna. Where does the ability to do your work come from? Krishna. Where does the body, the instrument that you use to do your work with, come from? Comes from Krishna. Where does the car that gets you from A to B ultimately come from? The ingredients of it. Everything comes from Krishna. So without all of that from Krishna, I wouldn't even be going to work. I wouldn't even be. Even the soul itself. So, it belongs to Krishna. Now I go to work and here comes the paycheck. It's Krishna's. Now what do I do? Endorse it over to Krishna? No. I mean, it's the consciousness behind the activity. So you endorse the check, you put it in your account, you understand this is Krishna's. Now let me use Krishna's in service to Krishna. So now it's time to write the bills. Pay the bills. So you pay your rent or mortgage payment. That's in Krishna's service. The car payment in Krishna's service. Your utilities bills, it's in Krishna's service. And you go through the whole thing. And if there's anything in that list that's not in Krishna's service, you don't renew it. You do without it. And those things that are, make sure the consciousness behind those activities is for Krishna. It's the consciousness behind. And then supposing, hopefully, there's something left over at the end of paying the bills in service to Krishna. That's your discretionary funds. Now how can I best serve Krishna? I need something for emergency, but I also should be giving something in charity for Krishna's service. Plenty of opportunity. So then, according to the inspiration of your heart, you find some place or places to repose their discretionary funds, and so you're working for Krishna. And then you go to work on Monday, the same thing. And on the weekend, you're doing other types of service to Krishna besides the Monday to Friday type of work, service for Krishna. It's service for Krishna. For a devotee, it's easy because the fruit is already Krishna's, because you're a devotee. Then it's just, you're managing that which is Krishna's property.
So while paying this mortgage for home, so it is like in a consciousness that's Krishna's
in the
home.
consciousness that the mortgage,
for Krishna's home.
as far as the bank is concerned, you're accountable. As far as you're concerned, it may be in my name, but I know it's Krishna's. And I'm making Krishna's mortgage payment. I'm just managing Krishna's resources. I'm his business manager. It's his. I'm not the owner. He's the owner. He's the proprietor. Sarva loka maheshwaram. What to speak of the house? I'm in his service. I'm responsibly managing that which belongs to him, making the mortgage payment, etc. Buying the groceries, buying clothing for the kids, sending them off to school and paying the tuition, in relation to Krishna's service. It's the consciousness behind the activity, which is the difference between material and spiritual life. That's bhakti. There's a goal. The goal is service to Krishna. And the end of that goal is you're with Krishna. In fact, you're with Krishna presently. Just physically you're serving him here, and then spiritually you're also serving him, and then you're just spiritually, when the body's gone, you just continue serving him in the spiritual body. If that's your consciousness. If that's not your consciousness, then another body. Something else. Yes.
So what about the family wants to go on a cruise to Florida or something? How do I resolve that with Krishna's money? And
Depends on the family. I mean, frankly, it depends on the family.
Yes, we can do
how is going on a cruise helping Krishna?
Well, yes. So It depends on the family is my short answer. You know, some families, they don't want to go on a cruise for Krishna, they want to go on a cruise for something else besides for Krishna. So what do you do in that circumstance? But so it depends on the circumstance. Depends. You don't want to force, you want to encourage, you want to, create an environment where bhakti grows. So if you just have, no, that's not an environment where bhakti is going to grow. You want to, so depending upon the family circumstance, you want to create that which is conducive for bhakti to grow. So someone may do this and someone else may do that, depending upon that which is, that's where Krishna gives the intelligence. Circumstances are different, people are different. Their trajectory of spiritual progress is different. And the family needs to grow together spiritually, not just somebody at the top saying yes and no. Bhakti nurturer is what's required. And it's not easy sometimes. Everyone's not necessarily on the same page with that. How to do that, how to handle it. Anything else? Are we done? Yes.
If somebody is chanting and still there are many faults like anger or less tolerance, then how to say about that? First, then
Why is it like that, or what to do about it?
Both.
Oh. I better not give you a third option because you're going to say all three. Why is it like that? Well, he'll give you the answer. Go ahead, give the answer. Same as before, by the way.
Attached.
Someone is attached. Where does anger come from?
Attachment.
What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Where does anger come from?
Lust.
Lust. Kamesha? Odesha. And that comes from something prior to that. Rajoguna. You contact Rajoguna, you get lust. Lust doesn't get satisfied, you get anger. Boom, boom, boom. Dominoes. So, attachment. That's when there's passion, one is attached to getting something. One is attached to getting something. And I don't get that something and I'm frustrated. Or I get that something and it didn't satisfy me and I'm frustrated. So the problem isn't, I got or I didn't get. The anger root is the mode of passion. So when somebody's in the mode of passion, they're attached. They may be doing and doing, but they're attached. I want. And they haven't. It's like one of the principal offenses in the chanting of the holy name, isn't it? What's offense number 10? Maintaining material attachments, even after understanding so many doesn't matter. So that's how it happens. Now what to do? Go ahead, you want to ask something else?
Maharaj, whenever I read 10 offenses...
you do 10 offenses?
Whenever I read 10 offenses, then I say that the chanting is always offensive. That it's difficult to chant purely.
Yes. By the way, my response wasn't to put you on the spot. I was being humorous. You look like. Please allow me to. It was lighthearted. It wasn't anything else. Okay, so yes, it's not easy. Not only for you, for any one of us. So what do we do when it's not easy? Abhyasa. Right? You know the meaning? Practice. Abhyasa. That's what to do. With faith, Shraddhavan, we're in the sadhana stage, we're in the practice stage, so we practice. Let me ask you a question in response to your question. You have a child here, yes? Nice boy. Once upon a time, this young boy was a real little baby, and he didn't know how to walk. Her too. Didn't know how to walk. So now what happened? This is an example of how walking propensity comes out because it's a propensity within. It's just not developed yet. The muscles, the coordination, and everything. So, half a step, and then tumble to the ground. And then get up, and then another half a step. Gradually, because the walking propensity is within, it comes out by practice. And before you know it, they're not just walking, they're running here, running there, running there, right? Because walking propensity is within, innately. Similarly, the bhakti propensity is within. We have to practice. And then comes the but, I'm so attached. I think of other things instead of being attentive to chanting. But now what? Practice. Because that bhakti propensity is within. And bhakti is stronger than the attachment. Like light is stronger than darkness. So what's the goal? And then what's the means to reach the goal? Be sure what the goal is. And Krishna, you strive, you practice, Krishna will give you intelligence how to reach the goal, and he'll give you everything you need. Everything that you need. Everything? Everything. And no more yavas. Nice. So that's a matter of faith. And faith also needs to be nurtured, and faith in its mature stage is called prema. And the immature stage is anishtata, unsteady. And then comes nishtha. And then comes ruchi, and then comes asakti, and then comes bhava, and then comes prema. But that's just stages of faith. And then the mature stage is prema. That's the goal. We're not there yet. There's this light off in the darkness. We'll keep going. Abhyasa. Know what the goal is. And strive for that. Strive sincerely for that goal. Exactly. Read the purport again. 10:10 Bhagavad Gita. Krishna will help you. He's helping. He's speaking his message of Bhagavad Gita, and he's sending this pure devotee, great super acharya, founder acharya, Srila Prabhupada, his wonderful purports. Here's his helping hand. Here's 10 hands. Here's 100 hands. Here's 1,000 hands. The resource is there. The potency is there. The love is there. Everything is there. So, little step at a time. Like the child walking. Keep practicing. With faith. That's how to, the second half of your question. Okay, looks like we're done. Thank you very much, Prabhupada.
Maharaj, can you do 10 minutes skill film?
Can you do what?
10 minutes skill.
Why not?
Okay. Ishan.
It's already 10 minutes to 10. I've been talking too long.
Ishan.
Sorry.
Just 10 minutes skill. Quick. Quick. Quick.
to